Hello, let's talk about Team Rosemary and Razor's Edge. Today, we're going to talk about what Team Rosemary is. We're going to figure out how Razor's Edge helps with Team Rosemary. We will be discussing how we code Team Rosemary gifts, how we code Team Rosemary participants, and how we code Team Rosemary prospects. Let's get started. What is Team Rosemary? Team Rosemary is a giving initiative to honor Rosemary Kennedy and steward donors who give to Best Buddies without receiving any benefits. This means that a donor gave Best Buddies a gift without expecting anything in return. They did not attend an event, they were not paying a fee, they were not paying a due, they just gave it to help us out. So, how does Razor's Edge help with Team Rosemary? Razor's Edge helps us in a couple ways. RE helps us track gifts to Team Rosemary, track people who give to Team Rosemary, and it helps us steward the donors and participants of Team Rosemary. So, let's start with coding of gifts. How do we code gifts to Team Rosemary? Well, first off, what is coding? Sounds a little confusing sometimes. Coding is simply labeling. Coding Team Rosemary gifts means labeling which gifts go to Team Rosemary using our development layer coding. You can learn more about development layer coding through our Razor's Edge gift processing training on Buds. So, the development codes used for Team Rosemary are as follows. The campaign will always be individual. The gift subtype will be your state acronym. The fund will always be Best Buddies International, your state acronym, ROSE. The appeal will be just like the fund, but with the addition of the year. You will code it to Team Rosemary. And in an attribute, you can add a corresponding attribute tier. These attribute tiers are as follows. They have different categories for different types of donors. A donor between, say, $5,000 and $10,000 would fall under the teal category. You would add this to your attribute. Please note that all gifts of and over $1,000 coded to individual unrestricted without the Team Rosemary coding will be automatically converted to Team Rosemary by finance and data teams. If a donor has given more than $1,000 of individual giving, gifts and donors will be recoded to Team Rosemary. Okay, so how does coding Team Rosemary participants in RE work? Well, donors are identified as Team Rosemary participants in several places within their records in Razor's Edge. The first is in the Bio 2 tab. As you can see here, Mr. Stephen Hurst, all the way at the bottom, reads BBI Rose. This is how we identify a Team Rosemary participant. Over in the Attributes tab of his record, we add further details. He is a 2018 Team Rosemary level participant and is currently in the orange tier. That's the $10,000 to $25,000 donor. So, how can you code Team Rosemary prospects in Razor's Edge? Well, first off, a prospect is a constituent you are cultivating towards a gift. So, a Team Rosemary prospect would be someone that you're cultivating towards specifically a Team Rosemary gift. On the Attributes tab of your prospect, you can add the code for 2018 Team Rosemary level, and then prospect for teal, or prospect for whatever corresponding size tier or gift you're expecting from that constituent. Over on the Prospect tab of this person's record, Mr. Stephen Hurst, you can enter the classification of Team Rosemary and let us know the prospect status of this relationship. In this case, Mr. Stephen Hurst is currently classified under the Team Rosemary prospect and is in the status of cultivation, meaning we're working towards moving him towards a gift, but haven't asked him just yet. Do you want someone stewarded as if they were already part of Team Rosemary? This happens sometimes. Well, we can help you out. Just open up that donor's record or constituent's record, go to the Bio 2 tab, and add the BBI Rose code to their constituency. Now remember, our Team Rosemary policy can be found on SharePoint in the Love Your Data, Love Your Donor files. And you can always contact helpmewithre@bestbuddies.org for any questions regarding Team Rosemary policy in Razor's Edge. Alright, that's it for Team Rosemary and Razor's Edge. See you next time.